we can't control, right? And the tricky thing with things that we can't control is that, especially when we care about those things, it's it's difficult, right? It's like you have to accept those things. And when I speak to a lot of creators and I hear them talk about the YouTube algorithm, it's usually framed in that context of something that they just feel like they can't quite control it, right? Which is a shame, because I work with so many different creators. I see the amount of effort and time and resources that they put into making their content. So for you to then feel like after putting in all that time that you post it on YouTube and then you don't really have control over how it goes or how it performs is a shame. So for me today, my goal is to help us reframe that perception. So take us from thinking about the algorithm as something that we can't control, right? And thinking about it as actually, yeah, there's some things that we might not be able to control, but we can actually influence them, right? So what are the things that we can do to influence YouTube's recommendation system so that we can maximize our return on investment on the platform? Sound good?
Yes.
Cool. So before we do that, I wanted to test our knowledge, see where we're at in terms of what we actually know about the algorithm, and see maybe where we have some misconceptions about how it works and how it doesn't work, and so on and so forth. And so to do that, I'd like you to all, have you all connected to the Wi-Fi? Okay, we're going to play a little game. So take out your phones. Can we get a round of applause for the winners? Okay, guys. So actually, I felt like quite a few, you guys got quite a few of those questions correct. Before we actually get into the conversation, I'm curious to know, or to hear from you, which of those answers actually surprised you the most? The last one. So what was the last question?
Saint Mara.
Period.
Yeah, period.
Sorry?
Well done.
Let's see what we have.
Speaker.
Thumbnail title. Okay, so let's talk about those two. Let's talk about those two questions.
Charger.
So
Oh, it's a charger.
YouTube actually did a study, right? Because as you can imagine, creators, mental fatigue,
Okay, the speaker is a charger, is a lamp, is a phone stand, a lot of things. Very thoughtful.
If people take breaks from posting on their channels, does it actually affect their performance? And we found that actually that is not the case, that it should not affect your performance. But what can happen, right, is that, think about it, if you're a viewer, if you're like a regular watcher of a YouTube channel, and this is why consistency can become important, right? Because people build a habit around watching your channel. So if I know, for example, that Titilayo always posts her videos on Monday at 5 p.m., then I become accustomed to logging on YouTube at that time and watching her content. But if she stops, maybe, you might not forget about her completely, but you fall out of that rhythm, and so it might take a bit of time for you to kind of get back into that when that content creator starts posting again, right? So that can happen, but generally speaking, the algorithm is not going to recommend your video any less than it would have before. And then for the thumbnail, what was the thumbnail question?
Change your thumbnail.
Does it re-rank the... Okay, so the question was changing your thumbnail and your title, does it re-rank your video?
The word is re-rank.
Right? And how that works, and the answer was no, right? So how that works is, what can happen is that if you change your thumbnail or your title, people might start to respond differently to that new thumbnail or title. And the algorithm is designed to follow the behavior of the audience or the viewer, right? So let's say you improve the thumbnail or the title, you make it a bit more catchy or more relevant, and more people then start to click on it, and that improves your click-through rate, improves the number of views that you get on the video, and so on and so forth. That can help improve your video performance. But the actual act of changing the thumbnail and the title is not re-ranking the video. It's more to do with how people are actually responding to that video, if that makes sense. Makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, so the $1 million question is like, how does the algorithm actually work, right? How does YouTube actually recommend videos on the platform? So let's talk about that today. So YouTube's recommendation system has two main goals, right? We want to know like what is the actual purpose, how is the system actually designed. So the first is that we want to show videos the videos that people will love the most when they come on the platform. And the second is we want them to leave them satisfied so that they keep coming back to the platform. Short and simple. So we just want people to have a good experience and want to show them videos that are most relevant to them and that they will enjoy on the platform. So that's the purpose of the YouTube algorithm. And so as you can imagine, our systems every day, they're learning from a number of different signals. So we look at, okay, what do people watch? What do they not watch? How long are they watching? Where are they watching? When do they watch? Are they liking the videos? Are they sharing them? Are they giving feedback through YouTube surveys and so on and so forth? And we then take that information and use that to personalize the experience of the audience. And so these signals, they might evolve, they might change over time, but again, the goal and the principle still remains the same. The goal is to try and understand the types of videos that people will like on the platform and that will keep them satisfied so that they keep coming back. So you've probably heard that the YouTube algorithm follows the audience, and it's true. And a lot of creators tend to think of YouTube videos as, or the algorithm as pushing out videos or promoting videos to viewers. But actually, I think a better way to think about it is YouTube, the algorithm actually putting in videos, right, but that are personalized to the individual viewer. And over time, each viewer will have a ranking of the videos and the channels that they watch the most, and then the algorithm will get a better sense for what are the types of videos that they enjoy, and the video and on the same hand, the videos that maybe that they don't enjoy as much as well. So there's three main factors, right, that generally contribute to how the YouTube recommendation system works. And we're going to look at each of them. But if you remember before, we spoke about things that are not within our control, but we also spoke about what are things that we can influence, what are the things that we can directly influence as a creator. I'm more so concerned about what you can directly influence to improve the performance of your videos. So out of these three different factors, so personalization, so what is a user's watch history, what are the videos that they've watched, what are their interests, performance, so there'll be certain video performance indicators that the YouTube algorithm will look at. So, okay, have people clicked on the video? How appealing do they find it? How engaging do they find the video? Were they satisfied with the video? And then you have external factors. So seasonality, competition on the platform, topic interest, and so on and so forth. So out of these three major factors, which of these do you feel like you have the most control over or the most ability to directly influence as a creator? The first one.
The first one.
Someone said the first one. Which one?
The first one.
Okay, do you have any roaming marks? Maybe can someone say what the answer is and why they think that's the bucket that they can influence?
The other side is blocked. Yeah.
I think someone over there said the first one. Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. I think the factor we can control mostly, from what I've seen recently, is performance. So this is a channel I currently manage, and from what I saw, we have about 1,000 comments. The likes are crazy. Views are like in thousands per hour. So what I see is people are making comments as the channel manager, you're liking, you're engaging with comments. People are saying in the comments that they love it, so they are satisfied. And then what happens is, very funny story, multiple channels are now taking on the same video and they are having crazy views. So it just goes to say that it's well appealing, the video is engaging, and people are satisfied to watch.
Thank you for that. Does anyone else have a different opinion?
Can I understand? Hi. So I think that you can control the external factors, You can control the topic based on what people are talking about, what is trending. Also, you can look at your competition and what they're doing, and also the seasonality. So right now it is Christmas, and we have Vlogmas, and we have holiday music and all of that. So you can decide to tap into that. So that would be my answer.
Interesting. Thank you. And let's go maybe one more.
Okay, so for me, I feel it's the personalization one, the watch history. Because if you're able to find out what people are watching, like for my niche now, I'm in the fitness niche. So I know that most people don't just go online and say how to do a pull-up. They are probably going online to say how can I lose weight or how can I make a smoothie. So because I know that this is what people are watching, so I go to Google, I try to search for something myself, and then I see recommendations. So I know that, okay, this is what people are searching for, and this is what is probably in their watch history. So I'm using those topics to make my video. So to an extent, I feel like I can personalize my video to suit a viewer so that YouTube will find my video for that viewer. So I think it's the first one.
All right, thank you. I think those were all really good answers. Can we give a round of applause for all of them? So really, my answer is that the one that you can most directly influence. So we had a few examples of how your knowledge of some of these things. So I think someone mentioned maybe understanding what your competition is doing, understanding maybe the time of the year and all that. So having that knowledge, right, is good to understand how that can actually impact your videos. But the one that you have the most direct influence over is performance, right? And we'll talk about how that is the case, but what is important for you as you upload videos and like you look into your analytics and you try to understand how to improve your performance is there are certain video performance indicators, click-through rates, average view duration, watch time, you mentioned likes, comments, subscriptions. These are the things that as a creator, that's feedback for you, right, on your video performance that you can, and if you understand how you can tailor your video approach and your strategy on your videos to try and influence those metrics so you can in turn improve the performance on your videos. So we'll talk about all of them, but the performance one is the one that I really want to focus on. So how does YouTube personalize video recommendations, right? So like we mentioned before, we look at videos that they've watched in the past, but we don't want just keep showing people the same videos over and over again. So we also want to show them novel videos and videos that they might not necessarily know that they like, but they might be interested in watching. So what the algorithm will do, it will look at, okay, what videos are actually often watched together. So we'll say, okay, watchers of video A also tend to watch video B, and so on and so forth. And then we also just try to understand, okay, how much of a channel or a particular topic do they tend to watch? So like we said before, everyone, I'm sure all of us here will have, you might not know it, but we'll have a ranking of channels that we tend to watch more regularly than not. So the algorithm will take that into consideration to then understand, okay, should I recommend more of this particular channel or more channels similar to this and so on. So that's personalization. But it's important to remember that people's interests change over time, right? Especially as a creator, it's like what you're making now, your audience 10 years from now, even 5 years from now might look very different. So it's important to keep up with, okay, what are their interests? Keep getting feedback from them, and how are those interests evolving over time. So I don't know if we have any gaming fans in here, but this is just like an example of how trends can change over a 5-year period. So you can see how, I think it was maybe 2015, 2016, a lot of people were like searching for Minecraft on YouTube, and then you saw over time like people then started to look at like search for Roblox, and then in 2017 Fortnite just took off, right? No one was looking for Fortnite like 2-3 years before, right? And then people then started looking for Fortnite on YouTube. So from a gamer's point of view, their audiences their interests were shifting over time. Using a personal example, I think in 2016, I was watching more like The Breakfast Club, which is like an American entertainment podcast show. That was probably like the biggest music show on YouTube at the time. But now I'm watching more. I'm watching Koti, I'm watching Tyra I know, I'm watching Aka. And obviously, maybe I'm a bit biased because I actually work with those creators, but I'm actually genuinely interested in that type of content, right? And so it's just important to understand, okay, as you're creating your YouTube strategy, understanding that people's interests will change over time. And so what does that mean? Keep experimenting, right? It's always a test, it's an iterative process. It's test and learn, test and learn, test and learn. Keep experimenting. I like to say actually for every 10 videos, maybe one should just be testing something different. So 10% of your videos, try something different, try a new format. Ask your audience for feedback. Use the community tab. Ask them, use pinned comments, ask them what they thought. Do research. There's tools like Google Trends, right, that will allow you to see some of like the graphs that you just saw before. So just keep on experimenting, never stay still. Just as you evolve, your audience will evolve as well. Okay, so remember I said that I really want to focus on performance, but let's talk a little bit about the external factors. So topic interest, competition, and seasonality. So it's important to just know that, for example, some topics naturally have a larger audience than others, right? So look, in the context of sports, we know football, this might even be outdated, but football is probably the most popular sport in the world right now. So naturally, if you're making videos about football, right, you have a wider pool of audience potentially to reach than someone who's making videos about cricket and golf and so on and so forth. Again, the question that will typically come after that is to say, okay, then maybe should I maybe gamify and maybe try and maybe do videos about a particular. No, the point is make videos and make your channel about a topic that truly resonates with you. Really focus on nurturing your community. But again, this is just to give you a context and understanding of how some of these external factors can impact, potential interest in the topic that you're talking about. The second thing is competition, right? So we saw, I think one of the questions before was about, what was it? Okay, if your click-through rate and your views are, something like if your channel is doing well, but the click-through rate is not quite well. I can't remember what it was, but it was basically trying to communicate that sometimes the video is doing well, right? It's actually performing well, but you're not uploading onto YouTube in a vacuum, right? People, if I'm going onto YouTube, you can imagine you go into your home feed. I think it's always worth, obviously we're all creators here, but we're also viewers as well. We're also consumers of content. So you go onto YouTube, you go into your home feed, there's so many different downloads, there's so many different options, right? So you're not posting in a vacuum. And so competition, when someone comes onto the platform, they're having to make an active decision whether to click on your video or to click on someone else's. So sometimes you might do everything you can, but unfortunately, there's just so much competition on the platform that might be impacting your performance. And finally, seasonality. So someone touched on it before. During COVID, as you can imagine, more people were sick, were at home, more people had more time to watch YouTube. So we saw a significant increase in views on YouTube. Sometimes, again, it's important to know your audience, right? So for example, maybe if you appeal to people who go to school, you probably see that during the summer months, they're watching videos more frequently, and then when they go back to school, that might change. So really understanding your audience and how some of these trends might impact how your video might be seen is important. Another example is maybe, let's say if you're a cooking channel, you make videos about food recipes. You might see that actually maybe doing a video about how to bake Christmas cakes. That you might want to post that more around Christmas time to take advantage of more people who might be searching for that particular topic. And then the great thing about YouTube is that could actually live on, right, as evergreen content. And you know that every Christmas you might get more views around that video because people are looking for that particular topic. Okay, so just to recap, in terms of when we're thinking about external factors that might impact our video performance, YouTube is recommending videos based on, your video might be surfaced based on how broadly appealing the topic is, how other videos are performing, and seasonal fluctuations. Okay, so how does our system actually look at video performance, right? So I like to, again, always think about it from the point of view of a viewer, right? And how they might experience watching your video. So YouTube wants to understand, did, how appealing is it? How appealing is this particular video to a given person? So did people actually choose to watch the video? And so there'll be performance indicators that will tell the YouTube algorithm whether people found that video appealing or not. So click-through rates, right? Someone sees your video and they clicked on it, so they find it appealing. Then we want to look at, okay, people clicked on it, but how engaging did they actually find that video, right? Remember we spoke about what is the actual purpose of the algorithm. We want people to actually enjoy the experience on the platform. So we look at, okay, how long did they watch for? What was the average percentage viewed of the percentage of the video that they actually watched? What is the average view duration, and so on and so forth? And satisfaction. Did people like the video? Did they subscribe? Did they share it to their friends? Did they complete a survey afterwards to say, okay, we actually really enjoyed this video, and so on and so forth? So for me, this is a view that if anything, I feel like I could take out all the other slides in this presentation and just use this to explain how the algorithm works, right? Think about when you're uploading each video, think about your video performance through the lens of a funnel, and think about it from the viewer experience. You post on the platform, right? Someone's looking, okay. So actually, let's start at the top. When you talk about appeal, right, and you post a video, what is the thing about things that you can directly influence? What is the thing that you can influence or change on your video to impact the click-through rate on your videos? Does anyone know? What's the thing, if you're changing something about a video, like if you're thinking about a strategy, you want to improve your video performance, what can you do to improve the click-through rate on your video?
The thumbnail and the
Thumbnails? Okay.
thumbnails, the title,
Okay.
and description.
So broadly speaking, it's thumbnails and titles, right?
Yeah.
And let's say topic, but that's the same thing as title, right? So thumbnails and titles. So that's what is within your control, right? Because that's what we want to focus on. So you want to think, okay, am I using my thumbnail? And we'll talk a little bit about thumbnails and titles later, just as an example. But that's what's within your control. Then we go to engagement. We talk about watch time, hours, views, average view duration. Okay, I'm a viewer, I'll click through. The first 30 seconds is so important, right? The introduction of your video, because that's where you hook them. I'm sure you've experienced the same way. Maybe you click into a video, right? And maybe you didn't find, it wasn't quite what you expected it to be, and so you drop off. So YouTube is taking that into consideration to say, okay, maybe actually this person didn't find that video that engaging. So again, bringing it back as a creator, you're looking at that data to try and understand, okay, and you can find this data in your analytics, so how many people were watching beyond the first 30 seconds, right? So you want to directly say, okay, maybe at the beginning you were trying to work on your thumbnails, people are actually thinking, how can I improve the quality of my introductions? How do I hook people so that they want to keep watching? And so on and so forth. Then you then go again, you say, okay, how can I make this video more engaging? How do I make people want to watch all the way until the end? How do I make people want to come back and maybe even watch the video again? How do I make people want to share, like, comment, subscribe? Like I said before, a lot of people say, oh, like, comment, share, but they don't know why they're saying it. It's because these signals tell the algorithm that people actually enjoyed and were satisfied with the experience watching the video on the platform. That makes sense? Okay, so just very quickly, I wanted to talk to us a little bit about thumbnail test and compare. I don't know how many people have ever heard of this or actually used it before. But I say a show of hands if you've used it or you've heard of thumbnail test and compare before. Okay, so not too many people. So it's good. So look, this is actually probably one of our most widely requested features on YouTube. So what is thumbnail test and compare? So the thumbnail test and compare is what we call a concurrent A/B/C test, right? So I'm sure you've all experienced this before, where you make a thumbnail for your video and you're not quite sure which one to use. You have different variations of the same thumbnail, and ultimately you just have to choose one, right? And you hope that that thumbnail will actually do well for you. So a lot of creators were saying, actually, what if we could test maybe 1 to 2 to 3 different thumbnails and actually understand which thumbnail is actually performing best for my audience. So YouTube recently created this feature. I think it was launched at the beginning of this this year to help creators to get real-time data that will actually tell you which thumbnails are performing better than the others. So typically when you do it, it can take anywhere from 2 hours to maybe a few days for you to get the results. So it's very simple to do. If you go into your YouTube studio, you can do it either for new videos or old videos, right? And when you go to thumbnails, there should be an option for you to click test and compare. And all you need to do is upload 3 thumbnails and then run the test and you get the results. So the main thing I wanted to stress about this, right, is like, okay, you're uploading 3 different thumbnails. You don't want to make those thumbnails so different that it's hard for you to then, when you get the results, that you don't know what was the actual thing that made one better than the other, right? But then you also don't want to make them so similar that the results of the test that then become inconclusive. So you want to isolate maybe 1 or 2 things in the thumbnail that will give you a clear indication of why it's performing better than another one. So for example, maybe in one video you have text, and another one you don't. And then maybe another one you just maybe change the emotion of the people that are in your video. So little tweaks like that you can control for, and then you understand, okay, and again, this is like many things, this is not a one-off. It's more from doing this, using it regularly, and getting data over time that will start to help you understand what are the thumbnails that work best for you. So, quick question. So we're thinking about like thumbnail testing. What metric do you think will actually help you tell whether a thumbnail, from this particular thumbnail test and compare feature, which metric do you think will actually tell you which thumbnail performs the best?
I think it's 10%. It's in drains battery.
You have a hand over there.
It drains battery.
CC, I'll click through it. Okay, you said the same thing. So click through it, right?
Retention rate,
So
retention of those.
Okay, retention of those that clicked on it. Okay, that was a good answer. So again, and click-through rate is not a bad answer either. That's what I would intuitively think, right? But what we actually look at, when you test it, you'll see, it will show you the winning thumbnail is based on what is the thumbnail that drove the most watch time, right? And really, it's because it goes back to what we said before, right? You just don't want people to click on your video and then that's it, right? You want the signal that we want of a high quality viewer that has clicked on your video is, did they actually watch as much of the video as possible? So the team has decided that actually watch time is a better indicator of the thumbnail test and compare test than click-through rate. Okay, so just to conclude, the last thing I'll say is that analytics is your friend. Analytics is your friend. How many people actually actively use their YouTube studio and go into the analytics and so on and so forth? Okay, so a few people, some people so, but it is your friend. Don't be afraid of analytics. The team tries to make it as easy as possible. I mean, I know there's a lot of data in there, and a lot of creators always say, like, okay, I don't know where to start, I'm not good with numbers. But again, that's why I said, going back to the funnel that I showed before, simplify it. Think about what are the metrics that actually reflect the experience of the viewer and will directly contribute towards the YouTube recommendation system. Click-through rates, average view duration, watch time, comments, likes, and so on and so forth. And when you go into analytics, just think about it very logically, right? So you look at the data, you see, okay, maybe which format is helping you to attract more new viewers, or which topic is attracting more returning viewers, right? So you observe that, and then you say, okay, actually I realize that this topic is attracting a lot of returning viewers, and so the action that you then take is maybe I should create more of this content, maybe I should make this into a series, and so on and so forth. Or maybe you see on a particular video that when you use a call to action in your video, that usually contributes to more people subscribing to that video. So that one is more of a simple change, right? You say, okay, I'm going to do more of that, so I can influence those metrics, the metrics that matter the most. So just to recap, if you take anything away from this presentation, is that the algorithm follows the audience, right? Always think from the perspective of your audience, the viewer, as a real person and how they experience the platform. The YouTube recommendation system is really focused on how do we maximize viewer satisfaction on the platform. Always keep experimenting, use YouTube analytics, understand what the data is telling you, test, and learn. And generally speaking, understand that over the course of the year, sometimes performance might be impacted by things that are outside of your control. So expect fluctuations in your performance, expect seasonality to impact your performance. But the goal is just to keep testing, keep learning, keep trying, and try and focus on the things that you can influence the most. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.